Learn how to manage and regulate your own emotions. It's never the topic of an argument or a disagreement. It's never that. It's because whatever you're saying is triggering me and I don't know how to manage that.
Right.
So instead of keeping myself calm, I'm swinging.
Yeah.
If Zeus Network is not for you, if that's not the vibe you want to work for or be on, then just say no to the
Yeah.
opportunity,
Yeah.
right? But if it is for you or you want that, then you say yeah. And so people have the opportunity to be a part of whatever they want to be a part of. And so yes, they can provide opportunity, which is cool and great. We all need a bag and we want to do something productive. But at the same time, there can be toxic elements. So, like, do we really? This the kind of beat to go, this the kind of beat to go, this the kind of beat to go, ba ta ta.
Welcome everyone back to the Petty Headquarters podcast. I'm your host, Tiana Luck, and this is
Jesse Strange.
And we are back at it again today, guys. And this time, as you can see, we have a wonderful guest with us, and this is a Zoom interview. If you guys are new, we do cover pop culture, reality TV, internet culture, and of course, baddies, right? And now today's guest is a licensed marriage and family therapist, award-winning speaker, best-selling author, and relationship expert who's found a really unique way to blend therapy with pop culture, from breaking down documentaries, celebrity headlines, to analyzing TV shows. And honestly, her work has been featured in Forbes, BET, New York Times, Bravo, OWN, Essence, and more. Please allow me to introduce Kiaundra Jackson. Welcome to the Petty Headquarters, Kiaundra.
Hey. Thank you guys so much for having me. That was a wonderful intro. You did that. I love
Period.
Yes. Yes.
All right. So,
Thank you for
Kiaundra,
having me.
tell us about yourself. Tell the people what you do.
I mean, she already told the people
I did.
already. I mean, she gave me a
did.
really great intro, But like she said, I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I'm located in Los Angeles, California. I am an award-winning speaker, best-selling author, media personality, featured in Forbes Next 1000, OWN, Essence. I have the privilege of doing some really amazing and wonderful things, but I am extremely passionate about mental health, healthy relationships. And as you guys mentioned, I just got into like this little groove or this niche of blending pop culture, celebrity gossip, just from a licensed therapist perspective. And so that's what led me here today.
Yay! I love
Very
that.
happy.
I'm actually curious because first of all, I love like the niche. Like I love the psychology mixed with
Yeah.
pop culture.
Yeah.
I feel like it's definitely a gap that needs to be filled. So I love that you're not afraid to show your face and to give your take. Did you always want to be a therapist?
Absolutely not.
Oh.
Look, let's see. So actually growing up, I wanted to be a dermatologist, believe it or not. I had really bad eczema on my skin growing up. And so I was like, okay, I need to help other people who have skin conditions,
Yeah.
And then when I thought about all the schooling, work, science, math, all of the things that goes in with that, I was like, this ain't for me. Right? And so in high school, I was like, okay, what do I want to do, with my life, with my career? Did not figure that out. So I went to community college, believe it or not, for 2 years, just taking random courses and just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And it was literally my last semester there. I took a marriage and family course that they had. Fell in love, bugged the teacher, stayed after class, had questions, and I just knew that I wanted to go into psychology after that. So obviously I pursued higher education, and that led me here today. So it was a combination of that and also just going through my own personal things as well. I don't think therapists are honest enough about why they get into this field. And most of us get into this field because of our own drama.
Right. Now, I wanted to ask you, now that you mentioned that, did you find that there was a moment where you realized your voice could reach more or like just beyond you? And like, what was that moment for you?
I think the moment, oh, that's a good question. Oh, y'all making me go back. The moment. So believe it or not, there was a huge chunk of my life where I was not on social media. I mean, I don't even know how I managed because I'm a social media girly now, right? And so I finally got on Facebook. That was the thing at the time. And my friends were like, we've been over here for a long time. And once I got on the platform, I started dishing out a lot of relationship content. And people had questions, genuine questions. And so I would go live every Friday and just do like a live Q&A, just like free game, free questions,
Wow.
answering everything. And I think that was the moment that I knew that people cared about my perspective and my opinion outside of just what I was able to provide with clients. And so that's when a little bit of a light bulb went off for me.
That's
Wow.
really cool because that also shows how you mix the social media and like even like the pop culture and that engagement aspect of it too. So that's really cool that you were doing that Q&A. Let's do.
Do I do that now? Not in that capacity, but it was helpful at the time. It was definitely helpful.
That's awesome. And so like at what point did you start to be like, all right, let me start blending pop culture TV to what you do? Like what was that moment like? Like where did you have that light bulb go off?
Did that stem from the Q&A or did that stem from something else?
I feel like that was completely different.
Okay.
The Q&A was more so that's when I realized that people cared about what I had to say on a higher level. The pop culture piece, like when things would happen on movies, TV shows with celebrities, people would always slide in my DM like, girl, what you think about this? And, and so I would have my personal opinions, but I would never share them, publicly like that. And so I have a manager currently who was like, you should take YouTube seriously. And I'm like, girl, ain't nobody got time for that. I don't know the YouTube platform. I feel like you got to have a fancy camera. Like, I just don't want to do it. And she was like, I think you really should. And so after I took her advice and really prayed about it, if I'm being honest with you, I was like, okay, let me take a stab at this. And so she was like, well, why don't you like look at TV shows and things and kind of like give it a different angle? And so that's where we developed the whole Kiaundra Jackson show, but then also incorporating some of the, celebrity pop culture movies and TV shows that were trending.
I love that.
I will say there is a little bit of courage in that because, like I said, we have met therapists that do not want to put their opinions or their face behind their opinions or their expertise in a sense. So I do, admire like the courage to even do that. You know what I mean?
And that's a good point because a lot of people, even the pop culture, they don't even want to put their face on that. Yeah. So, no, for real, like any celebrity gossip, pop culture, they're like, nope, don't put my face on it. Nope. So, I mean, I commend you. And we did see that you were recognized by Beyonce and the NAACP.
Yeah.
So I want to know, how did that come about? And like, how was that for you?
It was probably one of the best experiences of my life. And it came with a 5-figure check. So Beyonce and NAACP put their money where their mouth was.
Period.
So Beyonce teamed up with the NAACP. She has a foundation called the Be Good Foundation. And so she was recognizing people who are doing great work in like their businesses and in certain communities. And I just happened to be one of the ones that was chosen out of like 17,000, I think like people or something. And it was a whole bunch of other people recognized as well. But that was a huge moment. I was crying. I mean, you can go back on my Instagram. I was holding up the check, tears, looking a mess. Like it was just a beautiful moment to be recognized by 2 different platforms that hold a lot of weight in the community. And it just showed me that the work that I do behind the scenes is helpful, it's necessary, and it's needed.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. That is awesome.
Well, we appreciate you sharing that. So we're just to kind of shift into like more towards like the reality TV. I know that we were talking, I know you didn't watch a lot of the shows that we had mentioned, but
judge me though. Don't judge me, okay? Like, I mean, I'm not a Baddies and a Love Island kind of girl, but where y'all were going with it. I see where y'all were going.
You did watch America's Next Top Model, so you know exactly the type of time reality TV is on. So, we want to just ask you, like, as a whole, like, why do you think people love reality TV so much, and why is it such a successful industry?
Yeah, reality TV show, I think it has 2 different perspectives, right? Like reality TV show, I think people often either see themselves within certain characters and people on the show, or the people on shows are so different from them that they're extremely intrigued by it,
Yeah.
right? Like they're on the completely different, the opposite ends of the spectrum. So either way, if you see yourself in a character like, ooh, she put up with that. Ooh, I did that yesterday. Or, whatever
Right.
you are relating to with that person, I think it kind of just reels you in. But then too, there's so many elements of people being completely different, never having experiences like you had, and you're just wanting to learn more about them and what, is what not only just learning more about them, but more about their background, more about the show, the more about the history. So I think there's two elements why a reality TV show tends to reel us in a lot. And I've had the privilege of being on reality TV shows as an expert. I was on a show that's no longer on air, but it was called Love Goals on OWN.
Oh,
And
I've heard of that show.
mhm.
Wow, that's
Yeah, I
cool.
was the resident. I was one of the resident therapists there.
That's
And
so cool.
so I got firsthand what reality TV show was all about. That was my first time working on that type
Wow,
of
wow.
show.
Are you allowed to
And
talk about
so,
that experience or no?
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
okay. How was that experience for you?
It was probably one of the best experiences for me. I love being in front of the camera, love being on television, and not in a like prideful way or anything like that, but it just really honed in on the fact that I was like, oh, I'm meant for this. I love this. But like you get to see the workings, the all of the work that goes in behind the scenes. You also get to see how things are curated. So reality is not really as reality
Right.
as we think it is. The outcomes of things are tend to be a little up in the air. You don't really know how someone's
Yeah.
going to respond, what they're going to do, what they're going to say. But
Mm.
sometimes the experiences are curated. Oh, we're going to go here and we're going to invite this person and see what happens, but it's not
Mm.
just like a random day to day, this is what we're doing today, because that can feel
Wow.
very boring. Mhm.
Okay.
Wow.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know that you had mentioned that you believe that in every reality TV show or filming that you believe that there should be a therapist present and there should be a therapist after those contestants are done filming. Do you think that opinion was made during like after being in reality TV or have you always had that opinion?
First of all, you've been watching my videos
I
because
sure have. You sure have.
I had that perspective prior to being on reality TV show because I see how or have I saw how shows can impact people on the front end depending on what they're going through and also how it impacts their life after TV. Right. And
Hmm.
so even when I was on the reality TV show, I stayed connected with those individuals, right? Just because everybody was like, Kiaundra, you so too, they weren't necessarily my clients, but I wanted to make sure that they did well after, being on show. So I think it's important to have a screening to make sure that people are in a good mental state prior to getting on television, making sure you have something on set where someone, if they do need a session, if they do need to decompress, vent, whatever, someone's there. And then also some aftercare. Once it's over, how am I navigating? How am I transitioning back into the real world?
I
Wow.
think that that is a great thing to say because these reality TV shows really do take a lot on the mental with these people. Like most of these people going on these shows are regular people. So imagine going on there and then just getting exposed to all this and all these people on the internet and then after and not knowing how to navigate.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, do you think reality TV reflects society or does it influence like how we behave?
I think both.
Right.
Honestly,
Oh.
I'm big on both and like two things can coexist at the same time.
Hmm.
Because I believe that reality television shows aren't always necessarily reality, but at the
Right.
same time, what is expressed on there, the audience tends to view themselves or see themselves in those particular individuals or the characters. But I also believe that reality TV show tends to shape our culture because if you see something consistently on shows time and time again, aggression, fights, emotional irregulation, you tend to think that's normal, right? And you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
probably do that when that's actually very unhealthy and very toxic. So it can perpetuate these things of we think it is healthy because some of our favorite people are those that we connect with on certain shows do it, but that doesn't make it right.
Let's just circle back on the whole thing overall, right? In terms of you saying that a therapist should be present, especially with a reality TV show, right? Going into this next question, do you think that if you could give a piece of advice to any reality TV contestant, before filming, what would it be?
I would say two things. Make sure you be your authentic self on camera because I noticed that some people morph and change into like this different person than they are in real
Right,
life. It's like, girl, you wouldn't say that in real life. So why are
right,
you trying to
right,
front, you know? So be
right.
your authentic self on or off camera. That's one thing. And that's one thing that I live by personally as well. Like how you see me right now is how I am in real life. You know
I
what I
love
mean? And
that.
Yeah.
some people don't like my personality. They don't like my style. They don't like, oh, she's not a therapist. She doesn't use big words. It's like, man, I am who I am, you know? So be your authentic self. And I
Yeah.
will also say, make sure your self esteem and your mental health is stabilized prior to getting on the show or engaging in it at all. And I say that because once you are exposed to public criticism, and
Mm-hmm.
scrutiny, it does a
Yep.
huge number on your self esteem, your
Yep.
confidence. I mean, all self love, all of those things. And if you're not right and tight to begin with,
Right.
that can lead to depression, that can lead to anxiety, that can lead to self harm or even some type of suicidal, thoughts or ideation or action. So those are the two things: authenticity and making sure your mental health as well.
I love that.
I love that. And now you just reminded me, thank you for so you mentioned to make sure that you're in a good space before filming. What would you say to somebody that says like I've heard from behind the scenes that it would be better if someone's not that stable because it calls for better TV.
So I'll be honest, it does cause for better TV. I'm not gonna hold you. I think I just said this about another show that I watched. I was like, oh, this is juicy, but it's only because the person didn't feel stabilized, right? And so
Right.
if you know anything about television, you know that ratings, they want people tapped in, they want people
Mm-hmm.
watching consistently. And the drama, the fights, that's what reels people in oftentimes. But we don't stop and think about that individual. They're still a person, they're still human, they still
Yes.
have some real things going on, and it's not okay to exploit that. And
Yeah.
so that's why if you are going to do something like that, at least have some type of supportive care on set or after for
I
this
love
person.
that.
I don't think it's right. You shouldn't do that to begin with. But if you're going to do it, at least have the proper measures in place because that can also be a lawsuit waiting to happen. And you don't want them kind of
Right.
legal problems either.
Yeah, I agree. That's
Right.
a great answer. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a great
I
answer.
did have a question because you did mention someone that piqued my curiosity. You mentioned something that piqued my curiosity. And my question to you is, do you feel that because you're on social media and you combine your work as a therapist, with pop culture, that you get a lot of criticism for being like, oh, you're not a real therapist? And like, how do you handle that?
No one really questions if I'm a real therapist or
Okay.
not, but they do say that I don't sound like a therapist. I think they're so
Oh,
used to people using big psychological terms, or
oh, okay.
also our field is very white and it's very male driven, right? So to
Mhm.
see a black, young, millennial female
Yes.
therapist who talks the way that I talk, who's from Compton, California, who's
Right.
professional but got a little bit of, spice to her, like I don't think we're used to seeing that on
Yeah.
social media or on camera. And so people do question, like, you don't sound like a therapist, you don't look like a therapist,
Oh,
just all of these different
wow.
things. They definitely criticize the way that I speak, my hair, and the way that I dress
Your
oftentimes. And
hair?
so
Are you serious? That is insane. Okay. Your hair is so cute. You dress really good.
And the
Every
glasses are
TV.
tea.
Right. It's crazy to think that people would do that. But then again, like you said, with being in your profession, in your field, it is very like widely male, white dominated, so it's unfortunate that people are like that.
And that's what really like again, like I saw your videos and that's what really drove me. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so on brand. She's so cool. And you don't see this often. You don't
Right.
see therapists in this light
Right.
often. And I love it. Like
Same.
I'm here for it. And I definitely encourage you more to definitely do more deep dives because I will
Hmm.
be tapping in if you do.
For sure.
I definitely will. I got some coming for y'all. I got some coming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Period.
That's awesome.
So we want to shift gears and talk a little bit about Love Island now.
Mhm.
Hey.
So, let's just explain the context of the show. So, Love Island is simply just a dating show where contestants go on there to find love, right? And each week there's a new bombshell that comes in to kind of like disrupt their coupling and kind of force them to recouple. And there's challenges, there's games, and the winning couple at the end gets a $100,000 reward, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so that's essentially
Yeah, and then they also allow the audience
to
vote for their favorite couples, etc.
Right.
So now, with that being said, my question to you is: do you believe that people can genuinely fall in love under that level of pressure and surveillance?
This might be an unpopular, like a hot take, but I think you can.
What?
I absolutely think you can. Okay. Let me explain. Let me explain.
Yes, explain.
You guys' face for me. I can't take it. Okay, so being being on a reality television show, you're in like this pressurized environment. You don't have access to your cell phones, you don't have access to family, you're not watching TV, you don't have work, you don't have all of these elements that can distract you in the real world. So you're literally putting time, energy, and effort around the same people every day, all day. And so the emotions can become very high and heightened very quickly. And this is why we see that on shows like Love is Blind. And you're like, ain't no way y'all are going to connect after talking through a wall for 2 weeks, you know? But when you don't have anything else to do, you can develop emotions quickly. And so I think there's a difference, though, between falling in love and having a healthy relationship. But I do think it's possible under that pretense.
Wow. So explain that difference, because now I just need to know what is the difference?
Yeah, so falling in love, if you really think about it, when people mention falling in love, they associate that with some type of feeling, right? It's like, I have butterflies in my stomach, my heart's skipping a beat, I can't live without this person. Like that's the energy that they're on. And that's just in the moment, right? So, what happens when all of those emotions and all of the butterflies go away and all of those things, like, and was I really attracted to you just because we were in the moment? Or do I really have something sustainable long term? And I think that's the difference between just falling in love. It can feel very emotion based versus having something stable and building a firm foundation.
Wow. That's an interesting answer because I definitely have the opposite take. Because what if you're someone that has issues with affection and has issues just like, with love, depending on how you grew up or coming from a dysfunctional family? Do you think for that person that they can still fall in love under that type of pressure?
That's why I said you could, depend on the person, right?
You can say not everybody.
You could. I think it would be appropriate to take everything into consideration, like their background, their upbringing, previous history, previous relationships, their attachment style, their love language, all of those things matter. So I think it's possible that you can fall in love, but it does get tricky when you're trying to mix and mend two different people coming through multiple backgrounds and who may even have some trauma growing up.
Yeah.
Wow, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So now that brings us to the next part of this. So in Love Island, right, these contestants, they choose to couple up, but sometimes there are challenges and situations that happen that kind of force the other person in the couple to either recouple with someone else or stay in their couple. So there was a situation that happened between Casey and Anaya where Casa Amor happened. So Casa Amor is essentially a place where the guys and the girls are separated and they get to choose to find a new match other than the couple that they are already involved in. So when the guys came back from Casa Amor, KC came back with another woman by the name of Titi, and Anaya was left on her own, stranded, because she chose to stay in a couple with KC. So my question for you, and I know we did share a clip in regard to this scene.
Oh my fucking God.
You okay?
Yo, y'all easy as shit. Literally after 3 days. What the fuck?
Anaya, how are you feeling right now?
I feel so fucking stupid, honestly. Like, so fucking stupid.
You're not stupid.
You're not stupid.
You're not
stupid. He's a fucking idiot. He's a stupid ass.
No, it's okay.
Trifling, actually.
I'm honestly so pissed off. Like, honestly though, y'all were all fucking right. Fuck me, like dead ass. I had hope in it, and everyone pretty much told me like I was delusional as fuck, and look at me, I look fucking delusional as fuck.
Casey, how are you feeling right now?
I mean, that's a sad reaction, I would say. It's not something easy to hear. I know, it is. It is. I hate to see her like that, genuinely. But this decision isn't for Anaya. This is for me.
What?
I understand people are going to be mad, people are going to be upset, but I got to stand on all
Honestly, fuck
teams.
you.
Thank you.
Decision isn't for Anaya, it's for me. Okay, fuck you. Fuck all the
And
weeks that we
I
had.
understand that.
Yeah.
I know, I understand that, but...
Yeah, honestly,
But no,
that
we
response
can't.
is actually crazy.
I gotta say what I gotta say. I gotta say what I gotta say, though.
A whole lot of nothing.
Whatever. That's cool.
Let him speak.
This whole time I have been here, I have poured into you. This whole time. I picked you, time and time again. Even when the fucking first day, nobody picked me. You feel me? Let's not forget that part.
We didn't know you.
We
What are
didn't,
you
you
talking
didn't know
about?
me. You didn't know me.
We didn't know
You didn't know me.
What are you
But I
talking
understand
about,
that,
Casey?
But it's a big... No,
I
but,
picked you every fucking time. At this fucking fire pit, I picked you. With the letters, I picked you. Here, I picked you. You didn't pick me. You didn't pick me. And I picked you every time. Literally. Even when we have conversations, you said something, I said, at the end of the day, I would still pick you. I would just pick you. And this was a decision where you could pick me and you didn't pick me.
Well, Casey, you've chosen to couple up with TT, which means Anaya, you are now single and vulnerable.
My question is, what do you think the psychological effects of being rejected publicly or watching your partner explore other connections? Like, what are those psychological effects?
I don't even know if it's psychological effect, but it's just real emotions, right? Like I would feel jealousy. There's embarrassment that comes with that. There's public scrutiny that comes with that. There's also feelings of not being chosen. When you choose someone intentionally and they don't choose you back, that's a dagger to the heart, right? And so now it leaves room for, did I make a mistake? Was I being just stupid in the moment? Like so many questions. It makes you question yourself and just like your own sanity, so to speak. And so it also opens the space for other people to criticize you, right? It's like, oh, girl, you stupid. He went and went with somebody else. You dumb. You should have, like, like it really does allow other people's perspective to come into that. And it makes you question your own decision making. So I don't even know if it's like this deep psychological thing. It's just real emotions that come with that. And now you have to figure out, do I still want to see if this relationship is going to work, even though they're choosing someone else, or do I walk away and choose myself?
Do you think that the cameras and them knowing that they're on camera amplifies that, or would it feel this? Do you think like for me personally, I would imagine that it would feel more embarrassing knowing that national TV is watching me. But is that just a me thing, or is that kind of like a normal like experience knowing that you're on camera?
Way more embarrassing because it's on camera. Way.
Yeah, for sure.
In the moment, you're just going through, like when cameras are on you and you're used to cameras being on you for like day in, day out, basically not like necessarily like Big Brother, but like consistently on you. Like you know that it's there, but you also, it kind of fades into the background a little bit, right? Until you really sit down and think about like, oh shoot, this is going to be on national television. Everybody gonna know my business. Right. And I'm gonna be embarrassed. And it really starts to sink in and be like, whoa, this is a whole nother level. So in the moment, you may not be fully aware of the extent because you don't know what that backlash is going to be about. But in the moment, you can't do really anything about it. You can just be human in that experience and then just soak it in and be real with yourself, be real with your emotions. And then hopefully on the back end, it won't be too much blowback.
Wow. Do you think any of these shows, like any type of love shows, whether it's Love is Blind, The Ultimatum, or Love Island, do you think this teaches us anything about relationships, or are they mostly like entertainment, or both?
Ooh, I think there's a combination of both. I just got done watching The Ultimatum the other day, and it's another conversation for another. But I do think if you go into these shows seeing yourself or seeing someone that you might be in relationship with, or that you know someone like, oh, I know somebody that does that or whatever, even if it's not directly related to you, I do think that it can teach you something. You have to go in being very curious when you're watching these shows. Right. Like thinking that it's status quo, this is how it is, just like having it be just very direct. I don't think that is the case. But I do think there's lessons that can be learned throughout multiple shows, whether it's reality or even something that's not, right? Like I recently did a review on The Polygamist, right? And so there was so many lessons in that about relationships and marriage and self-worth. And I was like, this is juicy, you know? And so just just going in with open eyes is important, but I also think it's entertainment. Like people want something that's an escape from their real lives, so to speak. And those shows and being committed to seeing other people's lives and being able to tune in each week for them to, you know, vote or not or whatever the process is. Like there's an interaction. There's an interaction that happens, especially with that show, that doesn't happen with other shows. Being able to vote isn't common for all reality TV shows, right? So I think it adds a deeper level of you having some type of ownership over what happens.
And I love that you said that, because that actually led to like one of the questions that I had was, do you think that there is a psychological effect on the audience going into being able to vote and kind of control the narrative? And then, you know, even after, a lot of the people who voted, like, for example, on Love Island, were trying to, like, for the characters, the contestants that they didn't like, they were trying to deactivate or report their accounts,
or deport them.
Yeah. So my question would be, do you think by allowing the audience to have that much power over the show kind of leaks into
like a
what happens?
parasocial relationship, so to speak. Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, those parasocial relationships they are not a game. I think in one aspect, it allows people to have some type of like control interaction with the show to make it intriguing that they're a part of it in some way. But when it starts to trickle over into real life, it's a little scary because people really take it way too far, right? They're trying to report your account, or they're calling your job, or, you know, they're, you know, saying things about your children or your whatever, you know, like it just becomes so scary because we live in a time where people just don't know what boundaries look like. And unfortunately, because parasocial relationships make you feel connected with people you don't really know, it does get scary. We do that with celebrities all the time. We do that with, you know, people on social media. And so there's a safety component there that we don't talk about enough in regards to the voting, not voting, or just being on reality TV show in general. Your whole life shifts and changes.
For sure. And, you know, when it comes to parasocial relationships, I see that it happens if a specific network maybe doesn't allow for certain boundaries. And now this brings me to another network where a lot of people have complained about, Zeus Network. And one of their most popular shows on there, But one of their most popular shows, sip the tea, Baddies.
Sip the tea in my favorite Christmas mug. Don't judge me, y'all. Yes, this is a Christmas mug. Do not judge.
Yes, no judgment here. But Baddies is one of Zeus Network's most popular high demand shows, okay? And this basically follows a cast of women, whether they're influencers, rappers, entrepreneurs, or even former reality TV personalities, where they travel together at different cities, they tour, they perform, they do different things. But in the midst of that, there is a lot of conflict, okay? And this can go from verbal arguments to physical violence, right? And it's a very popular show. It's like Bad Girls Club on crack, if you want to describe it like that. So drama is basically a very big central part of this show as to why it's so successful.
Right. And I watched one of your videos where you were praising, I forgot, it was the history of Black TV. I forgot the name of the HBO series that you watched, but I saw you were appreciative of the history that you got to know, and also saying, you know, it's nice to see that Oprah and all these people are paving ways for people of color. Now, I'm curious to know, do you believe that Zeus Network should also be praised for paving the way for opportunities for Black people? Because they do hire Black editors, Black producers, and all types of people of color.
I'm going to say yes. I think, again, two things can coexist. Right? Hot take, right? I might get dragged for filth on this. But I'm going to blame you guys. If I get dragged, I'm going to be like,
no, I think it's fair. And I love that you're saying that because, like you said, two things can be true, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, I am not too familiar with Zeus Network, but from what I've seen on clips and beyond, it can get real turned up, a little spicy over there, especially the physical fights that I've seen on that show. But that doesn't negate the fact that they still provide jobs for people, opportunities for people, Black creatives or whomever can be on the show. Everybody has free will and agency.
Yeah.
If Zeus Network is not for you, if that's not the vibe you want to work for or be on, then just say no to the opportunity, right?
Yeah.
But if it is for you or you want that, then you say yeah. And so people have the opportunity to be a part of whatever they want to be a part of. And so, yes, they can provide opportunity, which is cool and great. You know, we all need a bag and we want to do something productive. But at the same time, there can be toxic elements. So, like, do we really need to air and showcase that part, or the emotional irregulability, emotionally irregulated, physical aggression, fights, untapped emotions, people's past traumas, I mean, there's just so much to it. And there's an element of like, okay, it is very much like, let's keep it real, but at the same time, is it doing more harm to our communities than it is helpful? So I think both of those things can coexist. So I want to say, yes, they're helpful, but also too, we need to take a deeper dive as to like why and what is being promoted and published.
And at what cost, for sure.
At what cost.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And, there's this phrase that a lot of the girls on the show use a lot to basically justify that toxic behavior and toxicity that happens on the show. They say, this is baddies, and that's the main thing that they say. So when they say that, it's like, I don't need to feel bad for you. You don't need to feel bad for me. This is baddies. Now, one of the clips that we did share with you, Bad Dolly literally says in her confessional, she says, we don't need no help. We don't need no therapy. This is baddies.
I don't want to recuperate. I don't want to retire. I don't want to redo nothing with a bitch that I already fuck with. Genuinely, bitch, I don't care, bitch. Run me that bitch. You hit me with that shoe, bitch. And I'm on your ass like right on rice. We didn't ask for therapy. We don't need counseling. We don't need no help. Bitch, it's baddies. I don't need a hoe to help me trying to fix or rekindle a motherfucking thing.
I want to ask you a little about that because, like, what do you think happens psychologically when people just start using that environment to kind of like justify toxic behavior?
Yeah. I watched that clip actually, and I was like, oh, she's serious. But what I got from it was the normalization of behavior.
Yeah.
So when they say like, this is baddies, we don't need no therapists, we don't need nobody to change us. We're basically saying we are who we are. We gonna do what we gonna do. Can't nobody tell us anything. This is it. Take it or leave it. That energy, right? And to a certain extent, okay, be you, boo. Like, do whatever you want to do. But also on the flip side to that, there has to be a level of accountability that happens because when you're normalizing something consistently, like, would you want your daughter or, someone to be watching this and imitating that behavior? And so we have a responsibility to show the next generation something positive and leave a legacy and an example for them versus repeating cycles that can be unhealthy. So yeah, I think it was like a normalization of behavior. And if that's what they want to say, that's cool. But also too, you have to recognize when you're in error and when you have things that you need to work on. And that can't be the excuse for everything.
Right.
That's true. That's true. And so that I'm guessing like that also the exposure to the fighting and the bullying, do you think that as viewers, it can desensitize people and influence people, like almost like, again, normalizing that type of behavior, like if it's okay?
Oh, yeah, 100%. When you see something consistently done over and over again, and that's your go-to, you might think that it's okay. You start to normalize that behavior, and then you become physically aggressive or try to fight people in real life, and you're like, well, I've seen so-and-so on Baddies do it, so if she can do it, I can do it. And that's not accurate. That's not what you want to do. That's not what you want to go through life experiencing, because you have to learn how to regulate your emo. That is the biggest, if I can tell anybody anything on the face of this earth, learn how to manage and regulate your own emotions. It's never the topic of an argument or a disagreement. It's never that. It's because whatever you're saying is triggering me and I don't know how to manage that. So instead of keeping myself calm, I'm swinging. You know?
Yeah. And we see that a lot. Like
True.
when we go to like specific events and the people that are fans, they'll act that way because that's become the culture, whether it's the violence or even trolling behavior, that's become the culture, especially if you're not thinking for yourself, right? And you're not thinking ahead or just in a mature way and you're letting that consume you. That can easily influence other younger people to also just they did it, so I'm gonna do it. Going back to what you said.
Yeah, and it's true.
It's true. Like we interviewed someone.
Yeah. Well, one of my biggest things about Zeus Network and Baddies in particular is that I've noticed over the years, we've been covering it for a while now.
Yeah.
But over the years, I've noticed that it has kind of garnered a lot younger audience.
Yeah.
A younger audience, like young 20s, and when we normally do like street style interviews, and we noticed that the last couple of times we were there, not only were they younger, but then they were also acting a lot more like what they see on the show.
Yeah, like aggressive. For sure. Like we interviewed one person and he just went off. And obviously there's liquor involved too. And he was like, Natalie, you didn't call me on stage, bitch. And
I want to fight.
Damn. Well, relax. We just on the street interviewing you. Like it was never that deep. You're not on the show. They're not cutting you a check for you to act like this. Like, and we see that when we watch the show, sometimes they will record where they're performing in venues, and every time they have a performance, there's some random person fighting in the audience. Like that's just become the culture because of what the show is and, just what's justified. So,
in the therapy world, we have something called modeling, right? And so you model behavior, whether that's you modeling good behavior for other people or you're modeling inappropriate and bad behavior, right?
Yeah.
And so regardless, they are modeling behavior every single time they show up, every single time their episode is being viewed, whatever the case may be. So they have to think about internally and personally, what do they want to leave? Do they want, people to be fighting and acting like that towards them when they're at the grocery store? Or they want to be able to separate those two things and say, hey, I want to model good behavior too. Like if you're going to do all of the raggedy ratchetness, at least throw in a little good sprinkle a little good every now and then. Like remember Salt Bay used to
right. Exactly.
No, for real.
And I wanted to ask you, like, what advice from your book would you give to women on the show who struggle with conflict or emotional regulation?
That's good. I would say my book, both of them, actually. I would say my book, Hard Work or Harmony, would be a good book for these women because it really focuses on how to have healthy relationships with family, friends, coworkers, just everybody, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's all about how you manage your own emotions, but also how you show up, right? So I would probably say if someone is experiencing some type of toxic relationship or something that's really unhealthy, so many thoughts. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Say them all. I love it.
So I just watched this interview with Keke Palmer and Oprah, right? Yesterday. It's fresh on my brain. Oh, it was so good. I took notes. Okay. So Oprah said something along the lines of like, if something keeps reoccurring in your life over and over and over again, it's there to teach you a lesson. What you have to figure out what the lesson is, right? Yeah. And how bad do things really have to get before you see it?
Right.
And so I would say the same thing with toxic relationships or people in relationships in general that can be a little tricky, where it's just like, how bad does something have to get in order for you to realize that you need to choose yourself, you need to set boundaries, you need to increase your self-love, you need to walk away from this person. I don't care how long y'all been together, what y'all got tied, your self-worth and your livelihood and your life in most cases that's way more important than anything else, right? Holding on to. So I encourage people to kind of just do that self-reflection and just saying, is this relationship truly serving me?
Right.
Like, am I dishing out more than I'm getting back? Because I believe in reciprocity where things have to go both ways. You should be getting as much as you're giving as much as you're getting.
Right. I love that. I love that you said that. And I do have this additional question. Do you think it's possible for women to be on Baddies and be emotionally regulated?
The take back.
Do you think it's possible for those two to coexist?
So full disclosure, I've never watched Baddies, right?
So
for the
based
record,
off of what you know,
but from what I do know,
yes,
it's possible. possible, but also a fully regulated person
Just
probably
would
wouldn't
not.
even put themselves in that environment to begin with because everybody else around you is not emotionally regulated and you might get slapped in the face or punched out of nowhere. So I think it's possible, but it isn't the wisest choice to do that because you don't know how others will react to you. And one thing I know for sure is that when someone is emotionally regulated around other people who are dysregulated, that can make the dysregulated people more annoyed and frustrated because you're not being pulled in and sucked into that type of energy. So it would probably cause more of a toxic, unhealthy, or heightened level of intensity on set because one person is doing well. So I would probably say it could happen, but more likely no.
Yeah, right, like it's possible, but it's not probable, right?
But then if you do have someone that is emotionally regulated and they decide to put themselves in that situation, I find that from when we watch the show, it ends up consuming them and they kind of become dysregulated, like you said, and they are no longer this emotionally regulated person. So it's just interesting to see what these shows could end up doing to people, like, you know, mentally. You know, and this
and that goes back to what we said. This is why everybody needs to take care of their mental health, you know, before doing and after the show, because if not, you can be sucked into something that you weren't even thinking about or even aware of.
Right, true. Right. And I know this all, like, a lot of this relates back to generational trauma, which you spoke on when it came to Diddy and the documentary and his sons. So what does breaking a generational curse cycle even look like in real life?
Yeah, I talk about breaking generational cycles and curses and patterns a lot. And I see that in clients, family, my own personal family, you know, like there's breaking generational patterns and cycles and curses, whatever term you want to use, looks like is like there has to be one person who's willing to stand up and to say, oh, no. We're not doing this no more. This stops with me. We're not carrying on the same behaviors. We're not carrying on the same mindsets. We're not carrying on the same anything anymore. After me, things are completely going to be shifted, right? And this is why we see people who have like generational wealth, right? There has to be someone who was, okay, we're not going to have poverty in our family anymore. I'm going to make a choice. And now generations won't have to worry about paying for college or whatever the case may be. Right. So it takes one brave person making a choice to do something that is completely the opposite of what they're used to in their family or in their bloodline and in their lineage. And it's so easy to fall into the same cycles. I'm just doing what my auntie and them did. I'm just doing what my grandma been doing this for the last 30, 50 million years. Like, you know, it's easy. It's easy to fall into the same pattern, but it takes a lot of strength to do something different.
I agree on that, on the strength. So
yeah, for sure. Like the black sheep, pretty much.
Yeah, the black sheep of the family, right. For sure. Right. For sure. Yeah. So I have a question for you. This is like outside of this. So if you can give a celebrity a free therapy session, who would it be?
And
like
why?
Your dream celebrity.
They have to be a therapy session? I just want to sit down with the people. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. So I would probably say Oprah is number one.
Wow.
Not that these people have issues where I'm like, they need to be in therapy, but it's more so me wanting to sit down and have conversations with them and learn more about their life and maybe even unpack some things. I would probably say Oprah. You said I'm giving you more than one. Okay, so I'm gonna do Oprah. I would do Keke Palmer for sure. I think she has a lot. I think she has a lot of things that she needs to unpack, especially with her child's father and then just like growing up in the limelight. There's a lot there, and just because I have currently been obsessed with her, I would probably say Tracy Ellis Ross as a third.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
I like that. I love those answers. Those are good answers.
Do you use her product pattern?
I do not, but if she wants to send me some products for free, feel free. I have used them before, but they are on the pricier side for me. So I was like, you know what, Tracy, all right.
Do you like them? Like, do they work for your hair? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I really do enjoy and like them. I've tried the shampoo and I've tried the conditioner as well. So I want to try the hair mask.
Okay.
I've been hearing a lot of things about that, but yes. They
Love
do work.
that.
They do
Okay.
work.
Nice, nice. Love that.
And we are not getting paid
I
for
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
So
Enough talk about the hair products.
but look, if y'all want to cut us a check, we will be more than welcome to receive that. Thank you,
Period.
Tracy.
Period. Love that. Love that so much. So, like, what words of advice can you give to our listeners, especially if someone has found themselves like in a toxic relationship or even a dysfunctional like family dynamic?
I would probably say the best piece of advice that I can give to someone who's in a toxic family relationship or an unhealthy relationship will probably be to focus on your boundaries. Like let your no be no, let your yes be yes. People often don't have issues with setting boundaries, it's often keeping them, I found. They'll set them and be like, I'm not gonna do this and they can't do this to me, and and I'm like, okay, cool. But then when that person pushes that button or pushes that boundary, they fold. And I'm like, y'all keep y'all boundaries. So I would probably say keep your boundary. We have boundaries around everything, around our time, our money, our sleep, our food, our relationships. Everything has a boundary around them. Like, don't go back on those things just because someone else is uncomfortable with your decision. So I would say hold strong to your boundaries.
I love that. I appreciate that. That's really
That was so good.
that was good. No, it's true because I feel like that is the most it's the simplest, but it applies in all avenues of life, like you said. So,
Boundaries, man.
yeah, it's really
Boundaries.
love
Yeah.
that.
It's crazy.
Especially with work.
Yes.
With work, with your kids, with your spouse, like we have boundaries around everything. And so if your boundaries are loosey-goosey in one area, oftentimes they're loosey-goosey in other areas too. And so you want to tighten up as much as possible. I'm not saying being stern and rigid and just be so hard, but I am saying be consistent with it. Be consistent.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like throughout this entire conversation, I really learned that boundaries is just a word that needs to be applied in all walks of life. Like it's not just one thing, but it's literally everything, which is really crazy for me to think about. So I really appreciate you even really opening my eyes about that. I feel like you've opened our eyes throughout this entire conversation, just like your take with reality TV, and Love Island, the little bit that you know with Baddies, with all of that good-ish, and even about yourself. So I just want to know, like, how can people stay connected with you?
Stay connected with me right here. Your girl is also still trying to grow her YouTube channel. So make sure you follow me and subscribe to my channel here, especially if you're interested in reviews on TV and TV shows and movies. And if you want, a little sprinkle of mental health and healthy relationships, stay connected, follow my channel, subscribe. It's my name, Kiaundra Jackson. And, if you want to get a little behind the scenes and get a little personal with your girl, I am an Instagram girlie too. So go ahead and follow me.
We got to follow you on
Jackson
Instagram.
well.
Yes, we definitely do.
Yeah, my stories be lit. Don't tell everybody, but my story, it be cracking over there. Okay.
You seem like a lit person. I'm not surprised.
No,
I like your everything you said today. I really appreciate you bringing yourself, and you are who you are on some real shit, because exactly how I see on YouTube, exactly how you showed up,
the exact same.
And we always appreciate that.
Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on here. I appreciate you guys so much for the opportunity, and let's stay connected.
Hell yeah, absolutely. So
yeah, we're gonna do our little intro. So outro, my bad. So as you guys know, you can find Kiaundra and Kiaundra Jackson on everything. All right.
All that stuff.
We're gonna put all the links. We're gonna put all the links here on this video in the description so that you guys will know where to find it. Thank you, Kiaundra, again for your time. And with that being said, Jesse, where can they find you?
You guys can find me on Instagram. That's JESSI.strange. And where can they find you, Tiana?
You guys can find me on Instagram at it's Tiana Lock. You guys can find us on Instagram at the Petty Headquarters. You guys can find us on YouTube, Patreon, and all podcast platforms at the Petty Headquarters. We release episodes weekly, y'all. And with that being said,
hold on.
Wait.
She's got to say it with us.
It's hard though, because this is through Zoom.
Try it.
All
okay.
Right.
So you want to say it?
Yeah. So what we usually like to do with our guests is at the end, we'll say at the same time This was your weekly dose of mess. However, because it's Zoom, I don't know if we're gonna say it at the same time.
We'll try it.
So the way it is I go like this. And with that being said, this was your weekly dose of mess. And we all say it together. Got it?
Okay.
All right, let's try it. All right. And with that being said, this is your weekly dose of mess.
Yay!
We got something. We got it.